do you see Japanese autos faring at a time when the auto industry globally is going through a tough time?
Yeah, well, I mean, the industry, everybody talks to me about the coming recession. I would argue the auto industry's been in recessionary conditions for about 2 or 3 years, thanks to the pandemic, the chip shortage, and other factors. The one thing that's going to help them out a lot is the yen, which you just mentioned, 140 yen to the dollar. Japanese automakers tend to post higher profits when the yen is weak. And this gives them some flexibility too on some of their pricing strategy.
I understand that, but do you think that they will be able to pass on the costs as steel costs continue to rise, input costs in general continue to rise, and in that backdrop, how do you defend margins, right?
Well, first off, as we mentioned, the yen naturally helps defend margins. Point one. Point number two is it seems like everybody else is raising prices on products. It's not just the Japanese, and the entire automotive industry is facing, probably the steepest raw material prices we've seen since around 2007. And and these things are getting passed on to consumers, particularly in the electric vehicle area, where prices of critical battery materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel are rising, and production is unable to keep up.
And so Suzuki is one of your buys. I'm looking at your list of stocks. So drilling it down to specifics, you like Suzuki ahead of that EV production in 2025. Let's talk about the focus on EVs, because I think they're putting in nearly $2 billion into the Indian market as well for EV infrastructure. What's the bet here?
Well, I mean, the thing is it's kind of something they have to do. It's something the government wants, and being the largest producer in India, it's something they have to take on board. The thing that's working to their advantage lately, two things is, first off, the Indian market has been recovering quite robustly, and that's good news for them. The second thing has been their alliance with Toyota, and Toyota has given them a lot of access to EV and hybrid related technology, things that would be really hard for them to develop on their own.